Hey guys, it's Brian here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today I thought it'd be kind of fun to do my July TBR. Now let me say this really quickly, because if you don't know me, because you're new to my channel, or if you just didn't know this about me, I am the definition of a mood reader. So setting a TBR is not something that I really do anymore. I just know that I will never finish them and it stresses me out. So this is a July TBR, but not really a TBR. This is kind of just like I'd like to get to it this month. So I am going to be participating in the Summer Ween Readathon that is going to be from July 15th through the 21st. This will be right after I come back from my trip, literally the day that I get back. So we'll see how we do day one, but regardless, I have some really exciting books that I really want to get to this month. I do have one book that I don't know what it's going to be yet. It is for my book club that I host called the Queens Book Club. This is originally from my Facebook group, Queens of MC. I'm still working on what that book is going to be. So obviously whatever we choose is going to be that book of the month that I'm going to read. So let's just go ahead and jump in. One of the books that I plan on starting after my current read, which obviously when you're seeing this, I will probably already started, crossing my fingers. I have been dying to get to this series legit since it released, and I'm not kidding. If you know anything about me, you should know that I am a huge Disney nerd. I grew up on Disney. I still act like a child. Now, obviously, when you see this video, I will probably already have gone. If not, I'm there currently. I am going to Disney World with my best friends. This is something that I started planning last summer. I said, hey, you know what would be a really good idea? Let's go to Disney World. So I have been planning this trip, and legit, I am not kidding when I say I am so freaking excited to go to one of the happiest places on earth. Now fight me on that, because I will go down on that ship, because I love Disney with my entire heart. I am so excited. I need to get to the Desperate Measures. This is the Wicked Villain series. How have I not read this series yet? Like, I say I'm the Disney fan, and this is literally Disney retellings. Like, this is Aladdin right here. I did try to read them. When you guys see this, it would have been a couple weeks ago, but it is currently July 2nd. I'm doing a bunch of videos all at once. I did try to start this series about a couple days ago, but I realized I didn't own the ebooks yet, and I wasn't ready to drop $30 and just, because obviously I'm going to binge them. But I did see that Hoopla has the ebooks, so I figured out I can download them that way. So here you go. It's going to be my Summer Ween TBR. Now again, I'm not going to stick to these, but definitely the next two are books that I'm definitely going to get to no matter what happens. First one is going to be The House on the Lake by Riley Sager. I do need to read two other books by him, because I'm trying to read in publication order. I may break it, we'll see. But I still need to get to Home Before Dark, which is his fourth release. His fifth release is Survive the Night. I really want to get to those before I jump into this one, because like I said, I just want to read in, you know, his release order. Just because there's no real reason to it, just I wanted to try it out. So, but regardless, this is definitely on my TBR, because in my Summer Ween TBR, I talked about that I am doing kind of like a little book club with my sister, and this is one of the picks that we chose, is The House Across the Lake. So I'm definitely getting to this one no matter what, because I'm just very excited about it. The second book is going to be The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. This is the other book that we chose. I don't know which one that we're gonna like discuss, because I just chose those two and she was like, okay. I'm like, okay, so which one? So either way, I'm very excited about both of these. I have read, you know, books by both authors in the past, so I look forward to reading it. Another book that I do have on my hands is going to be He Started It by Samantha Downing. This is obviously another thriller. I am definitely going to get to this one, because I checked this one out from the library. But the other book that I do plan on getting to, we'll see if I do get to it, is going to be The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This is like a slasher type thriller about like girls who survive this like mass killing, or you know, whatever. Think of like, you know, slasher movies like Friday the 13th, like they survived, and you know, whatever. Another thing that I've kind of briefly talked about in my, I think it was a mid-year freak out tag, if you watched that video. If not, I'll put it in the description if you care to watch it. I talked about that I am hosting, or co-hosting, I guess I should say, Summer of Spice. Now, this is like a readathon of sorts where we're just reading like spicy romances throughout the summer. This did start in June, and you can kind of do it with how you please. So I have a lot of books that I kind of set out that I wanted to read. There's no way I'm going to get to all of them this month. I had a huge list of books that I just were on my radar for this TBR. So again, obviously I only read like 4 books from that list because June, I'm the definition of a mood reader. So one of them is going to be the Cleo Evans series. I don't know the name of the series. It is like her barista series. Like book 10 is supposed to be about the barista. It's this monster romance series. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by it. They're all novella length, so that's why I definitely want to get to them, because they're very quick and spicy and, you know, monster romances. If you guys want to see my video, me trying out monster romances, I'll put that down in the cards below. If you guys want to see me doing like a reading vlog, reading the series, because I definitely will binge them, let me know. Another thing that I'm kind of planning on, we'll see, it just kind of depends on how the month goes for me, because like I said, I have book bonanza coming up. After you guys see this, it'll have already happened, and then I'm going straight to Disney right after. So I don't know how the rest of the month is going to plan out for me. I'm just planning on reading as much as I possibly can, because as soon as August hits, it means back to school. So here we go. Another genre that I've talked about that I really want to get to is a megaverse. I'm not going to say the books that I want to get to, because I really do want to keep that like a secret. We'll see. I don't know. I might make a video before. I really don't know. But I definitely want to get it into that genre. A bunch of like, I filmed a TikTok with like all my recommendations and whatnot. So kind of looking at the list, some books that I definitely hopefully want to get to is going to be The Confidence of Wildflowers by Macaulay Smeltzer. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Now this is a complete duet. It is a age gap, forbidden, taboo romance. Literally everything I could ever want in a book. I've heard rave reviews about this duet. You either are a fan of age gap or you're not. So those that don't really care for age gap probably didn't enjoy this book, but I go hard for age gap. I don't know why. I don't know if that's weird. I love the trope. Another series that I really want to start, but I just feel like I'm not going to get to them until book 4 releases. It is a series that legit everybody is talking about on all book community platforms, Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram. I'm not kidding, everywhere. But it is by Sarah Kate. First book is Praise, second book is Eyes on Me, and the third book is Give Me More. I don't remember what the book 4 is going to be called, but it is releasing in August. I have messaged several people, one of them being Caitlin from the Love Librarian, and I'm like, okay, hey, do you recommend that I just start them now, or should I just wait until the book releases? What do you think I should do? She's like, read them now. I'm like, okay. So we'll see if I get to them. I mean, obviously I am very much intrigued by the series. I mean, I hear rave reviews, so it's just a matter of time. Another book that I would definitely like to get to is Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, as well as Sea of Ruin, also obviously by Pam Godwin. I have read one other book by her, Lessons in Sin, that I read about this time last year. Freaking loved that book, hands down. I even got one of my coworkers. So a little side story. I got one of my coworkers that I worked with in my old school district. I got her into the dark romance world, which is the coolest thing ever. I thought that was so cool because at the time she was reading like historical romances, and I'm like, hey, so I've got a genre for you to try out. And I have since like been giving her recommendations. I'm like, hey, read Carrie and Cole, hey, read Tilly Cole. Like, it's been really fun. So that's gonna stink not being at that school and being able to talk about books with her, but needless to say, she's like, you really need to read more Pam Godwin. I'm like, I know. So Dark Notes and Sea of Ruin are probably the 2 books that I'm most excited about. And if you don't know this about me, I am a rep for Mystic Box, and I know Pam Godwin is the next box to come. And I'm like 90% sure Sea of Ruin and Dark Notes are the 2 books that are going to be included in this box. Another book that I would really like to get to, because like I said, I'm going to Disney. I would not be a Disney person without reading all these retellings. Now, I am horrible because like I said, I'm a Disney nerd. And yet there's so many of these retellings that I'm like, why haven't I read this yet? One of them is going to be the Never King by, oh gosh, Nikki St. Crow? I don't know. This is a Peter Pan retelling, and it is supposed to be super dark. I am very excited about this book. Now, let me say that. Now that I said that, there's another book that I need to mention that just literally popped in my brain as we speak. It is going to be Wretched by Emily McIntyre. I read Hooked and Scarred. I freaking love those books. I need to read Wretched, which I think, if I remember correctly, this is a Snow White retelling. Another book that I'm just going to put on every month until I get to it. Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. Now, I am still fairly new to the reverse harem genre. I'm going to say it's a genre. And this is one of those books that kind of introduces everybody to the genre. And I hear it is quite the book because it has like blood play, knife play, you know, all that kind of stuff. I have the audiobook. I'm a little nervous because sometimes, from my understanding, reverse harem audiobooks are either a big hit or they're a complete mess because of the narrators. I'm also terrified to read this book because it is freaking massive. I think it's like over 700 pages. But I'm very intrigued because it is a darker reverse harem. I just really want to get to it. Because another series that I definitely want to try and get to, because I just read Balance. I need to get to the what is it even called? Off Balance series by Lucia Franco. I need to read the rest of the series. Again, another commitment. That's like over 2,000 pages that I still need to get to. I gotta read books 2, 3, 4, and 5. I would definitely like to at least read book 2 in July, and I'll just slowly get through them because it's 5 books following the same couple. I freaking love book 1. Now, let me say that, okay? Let me say that. I loved book 1. Her duet that I would like to get to is going to be There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. I have previously read her Brutal Birthright series, and I really want to get to this duet because it is a female serial killer, and it sounds super intriguing. I've read one other book that is a female serial killer, which is, I think it's called, what's it called? M. Never, the Ghostface Killer or something like that. Some Ghostface. But I am very intrigued with that kind of like plot line. Another book that I have got to get to because it has legit been on my TBR since 2014. I actually have 2 books. One of them is Raw by Bella Aurora. I quote myself as like a big fan of the dark romance world, and yet I haven't read this book. Why? I don't know. Like, I have no reason why. I have been dying to read this book since 2014. It is now 2022. Another book series that I want to get to is Tears of Tess by Pippa Winters. Again, I quote myself as loving dark romance, and yet I haven't read one of the most iconic dark romance series. I don't know. Again, these are just books that I would like to get to. I have no promises because, like I said, I've been trying to read these books since 2014, and here we are 8 years later. Series that I definitely really want to get to because it's another retelling, and it is one of my favorite authors because she writes some really twisted books. It is going to be, I don't even know the name of the series, but the first book is called Stroke of Midnight. This is by Kay Webster. This is a trilogy. Obviously, it's about Cinderella, obviously within a dark romance world, and this is kind of it. I can't remember exactly who it follows because it's somebody we're introduced to in Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin, and like I said, I read it last year, and it's still one of those books that I think about all the time. Now, this Dangerous Press, which is like the publisher, they created this entire world of Lessons in Sin that was kind of like what started everything. So Stroke of Midnight trilogy, I don't even know what you want to call it, has been on my TBR like since, because I was like, oh my god, I need that book in my hand. Another book that I would like to get to is going to be Always Been You by QB Tyler. I freaking love QB Tyler. I think I've only read one book by her so far, and it is Love Unexpected. But I'm not kidding when I tell you that is one of my all-time favorite books. It is an age gap, forbidden romance. Love that book. If you have not read that book and you're a fan of Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, go read it now. Like, I'm not joking. Go read it. So I read, I don't even remember what anthology it was at this point. I'm pretty sure it was like a Christmas anthology. I don't even remember what it was called. This book was originally part of that anthology, and QB Tyler decided to publish it in a full book format, so I'm already familiar with these two characters. It is a forbidden romance step sibling. They're not blood related at all, but I loved that novella, and I'm like, they really need their own book, and here we are, and I still need to read it. So I definitely would like to get to that book. Again, I don't know if I will. Another book that I would like to get to is Born Darkly by Trista Wolfe. I just got the duet bind up audiobook, and this is another one of those series that I've been meaning to read for years now. I know Jessica from Peace Love Books raves about this book all the time. It is one of those like darker romance series about, I think the female is a serial killer and it's her therapist. It has something to do with the therapist. That's all I like definitely remember, and it is obviously like a forbidden romance type situation, so I'm very excited about that. Another book that I am going to get to, like there's no doubt, is going to be Kink Camp Hunted by A. Anders. This is the like book choice for Summer of Spice, which I mentioned earlier in the video. This is like our monthly read. Me and Jess from Love to Love Books, which is my co-host, she's the one that created the readathon. This is the July book, so I'm definitely going to get to this one no matter what, because it's one of the books that we set out to read. So I'm very curious about that book. They're like high priority for me. I definitely have more that are high priority at this point. Like I said, I'm a mood reader, so I don't know what's going to happen in July. I don't know. I'm really trying to read as much as I possibly can. If you guys have any recommendations for me to read this month to add to my forever long TBR, I mean, what is even a TBR at this point? Like, I never stick to them. If you read any of these books and you're like, Brianna, you need to read this book, like put it up top tier, this is, you have to get to it, let me know. If you guys have read any of these books and you're like, don't read this book, let me know, because if it's not something worth my time, I'm not gonna waste my time. But if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.